Good morning. Boy, I think I got it all up and going. I always adding new stuff on here that distracts me. Anyway, I hope you're having a good morning. Hope you're having a good week. Hope you're having a good February because it's almost over. I think here in Oklahoma, and many of you aren't in Oklahoma, but most of you are, we're going to have this little cool blast, and then severe storms start Sunday. Woohoo! Weather changes, right? You just never know. Hang around. Never a dull moment. You never know. So snow and ice one day, and tornadoes the next, right? That's the way it goes. So it's not really going to be snow and ice, so I don't think. I don't think. I'm not sure, but I don't think. Anyway, so I hope you're. But you're. I hope you're having a good year. This year seems to be going pretty fast. Sometimes it feels like January and February just drag and drag, right? And sometimes it's like, here we are. Spring, my tree is budding. I've been watching it every morning. Every morning it looks like it's just opening up more. It's going to have leaves real soon and everything's going to be fresh and new and remind us that these cycles God put in place, we call seasons, in Genesis chapter 1 are still going. There's still four seasons. As a matter of fact, I hate to burst your bubble, but God promised Noah the rainbow was a sign of the promise, the covenant God made with Noah. As long as the earth remains, there will be seasons, seed time, and harvest. So the seasons aren't going away. Now, do we need to change some things in our environment? Absolutely. And I'm not going to get into all this scientific stuff, right? Do we need to do some things to protect the environment? Absolutely. But God promised. So the plants He created that day, the people He created that day, we're seeing the result and we're still living it and walking it out. That just amazes me, right? Just amazes me that of how God started something and then it just continues, you know. So I was thinking about. I called today's thing reminders. I think Let me look. Reminders, yes, because as I was up this morning, I was drinking my coffee and I was praying, meditating, ready, having my devotion time, and I just was thanking God for His faithfulness. And so I've been singing that song. I will sing of the goodness of God, and it talks about His faithfulness. But I found one in the songs I wrote. And I wrote this song in February 6th of 1999. That was before I did it. In just about a month, I was going to be moving to Louisiana, and starting a teaching job and making all kinds of new friends that I still have. And, my world was, I had no idea what was going on. But there's been a lot of stuff that happened since February 1999, right? And so I was thumbing through I've got this book of songs I've written, and you ain't never gonna hear them, so don't worry about it. I got this big old notebook here that I pull over, and some of them are okay, and some of them are probably need to be just thrown away. And I'm thinking about making a video of them just so that when I'm gone, somebody can know how they were supposed to go. Right? Otherwise, it's just words and little chords written on it because it's not actually music. I don't write the notes out like my grandmother did. I've got all of her handwritten stuff. Anyway, but I just I found this song, just found it. And I began to sing it. Some things in my life I can't deny. Some things still make me ask why, right? But I can't deny His mercy. I can't deny your grace. I can't deny the work of your love. And I can't deny your faithfulness to me. Well, I sang that over two or three times, and just that, there's things in life that makes us ask why. I don't know why some things happen. Some things are just kind of the course of life, and some things are consequences from decisions we made. When you get married, or there's going to be, it changes your life. When you have a baby, it changes your life. When you get saved, it changes your life. And there's things in your life that, maybe a financial collapse. Maybe I can't explain it. We pick something, right? In 86, 87, I was so sick and I had overcome. God brought me through that. And that's the thing. No matter what we face, good or bad, He is faithful. And so I sang that first part a couple of times. And then as I got to the second part of the song, I started singing, For your name has been a mighty strong tower. And I began to cry, and I'm not a crier. I rarely shed a tear. Every once in a while, I say my eyes sweat just a little. When Chris was talking to me yesterday with his voice, and I was like, my eyes get a little sweaty, and he communicates. But I started crying so much I couldn't even sing the song as I sang, "Your name has been a mighty strong tower." And I realized all the things that God's brought me through since February 1999. There's been so many things that has happened. So, and I'm sure you've got a list too. And I was like, man, God has always been there. And so I would let this devotion this morning just remind you that God has always been there. And you've got a list. I don't have to go through my list and tell you all the list of things. I mean, y'all know about Chris, but y'all don't know some of the other stuff, right? You don't need to know it because you've got your own list. God has always been a mighty strong tower. Then the next part goes, "You've been my refuge in the storm." And as I sang that, realizing I wrote it in 1999, I was like, man, there has been some storms. Yeah, I can go back further than 99 because I got 62 years of storms to go back to it. The storm started when I was born and my mom had a nervous breakdown, right? So we got those storms. We could talk about those storms and know that God has been our refuge in that storm. And then I sang, "You've led me. You kept me." Can't read my own writing. "You kept me through the flood." And I wasn't praying that he would keep me through the flood. I was reminding myself of all those floods that he kept me through. I'm reminding you right now of all those floods he's kept you through. You've kept me through the fire. I can't deny your faithfulness to me. And as I sang it, and I just thought of how of so many. I just had pictures of all these things that have come at me or I've gone through. And at this point, I can say I've gone through, and you can too. And we can also say we're still going through because we all got stuff, right? But he's still faithful. And when we let that slideshow of memories play through our mind of the times he kept us, when we were sick, when we were down and out, when we were rejected, when we were depressed, when we were hurt, when whatever, fill in the blank, because you've got your stories too. We've all got stories of his faithfulness. And that just gives way to Thanksgiving. And it's just like, gosh, thank you, God, for walking through these things with me. Thank you for living out. See, we have lived out. Most of us, if we look at it subjectively and objectively and realistically, we'll look at Isaiah 43. Let me get there. And he says, "When you pass through the waters, I'll be with you." Here's your reminder. Today's your reminder that he's been with you before, and he's going to continue to be with you. At no point is he going to jump ship. At no point is he going to say, "Oh, never mind, this is way more than I bargained for, forget it." He is going to remain faithful. And sometimes we just need to remind ourselves of the things he's already brought us through. Oh, we got lots of reminders in the Bible, right? I mean, oh my goodness, I love reading the stories of his faithfulness, of the promises he made Joseph and how he brought him even out of hardship, right? The way he brought Job out of such horrible, these things came on Job and they were horrible, but God brought him out, right? We look at Paul. Paul was killing the church and he thought he was doing God a service, yet God was faithful to go, "Hold up, boy, let's talk a bit, because you really are seeking me, but you're going about it all the wrong way." And he met Paul on that road of Damascus. We've got all these stories of God's faithfulness through the generations, and it's not going to stop with you. He's going to remain faithful no matter what you're going through, or if everything's peachy keen for you right now. Maybe everything's peachy keen, but that's okay. Hold on, right? Because you're either going through something, and maybe it's not a lot of big stuff. Maybe, everything's good, but there's always something in life, because we're breathing, because we make bad decisions sometimes, and sometimes it's not because we made a bad decision at all. Life just kind of happens, and in the middle of it, though, God remains faithful. And here's the thing, you can be just like him. We're supposed to be. We're made in his image. We're supposed to be like him, and that just means that we are faithful to him too. If you got a better idea than running to God with the good stuff and the bad stuff and the in-between stuff, let me know. But I've never come up with a better idea than being faithful to him, just like he is faithful to me. And so we can say, God, I'm just going to trust you. I can say, your name has been a mighty strong tower, and I'm not going to be looking for somewhere else to run, right? You've been my refuge from the storm, and I'm not looking for another refuge. I'm not looking for another. Where else would you hide in the storm, right? You've kept me through the flood. You've kept me through the fire. He's already done it. We can trust him another day. We could trust him another year. We can trust him for another second. We can continue being faithful and just trusting God because he's faithful first, right? I can't deny your faithfulness to me. I'm telling you today, God has been faithful through so far 62 years, right? But I look at my aunt and uncle, they're older, and they can tell you he's been faithful beyond 62. My mom and dad lived to in their 80s. They could tell you he's been faithful. Look how long Moses and all these dudes lived. They lived a lot. I don't want to live that long, but just so y'all know, like 900 years or something, 600. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. But he will be faithful every day we live. And he's even faithful in death because all of his promises are still intact and we get to be with him. There's no end to his mercy. There's no end to his grace. There's no end to his peace. There's no end to his love, to his faithfulness. There's not a button. It's not going to unplug it, right? There's no off switch. There's not an expiration date. God is going to remain faithful. So let today's devotion be the reminder that he's still faithful. He's still got you. Think about the things he's brought you through, and that's how you encourage yourself to hold on through whatever you're facing today. And maybe you're not facing anything today, but you'll think about this tomorrow or the next day when you face something, right? Just remember that he's got you and he's faithful. Peace out. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.